She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. We are blessed that you chose to join us for at least this next hour that we have the program. I have a question for you. Have you found that since we have become this very digital society, have you found that you have deeper, richer relationships? Or are you like 40% of Americans who say they are lonely? That's nearly half. Nearly half of our population is reporting that they are lonely. I definitely have noticed that since we've gotten these little computers in our hands, small little devices that sit in our pocket or in our purse, people have a tendency, even at the dinner table, even in a restaurant where the family's together in a restaurant, even a couple who are supposed to be having a date night, and yet both are separately on their cell phones, whether they're Facebooking or Instagram or reading an article, whatever the case may be, their nose is involved in something other than the person, the human being that they're sitting across from. You know, I think it'll be a very interesting thing to see about divorce rate, how it's going to happen or what that might change to be in the next decade, as well as suicide in kids, financial bigger messes, because a lack of cohesiveness, a lack of unity, a lack of intimacy in relationships at work and at home. Today, we are talking about something very, very important. You see, if you want to succeed, you can't be isolated. So many people have isolated themselves. Are you one of those who run and hide when things get tough? When you don't know what to do? Do you pull yourself back into a corner? The corner of pornography? The corner of gambling? Shopping? Whatever place it is that you seem to withdraw to. Drugs, alcohol, could even be being a workaholic. You cannot have long-lasting success. And I have to tell you, you and I both know that what I just described is not success. And here on the Dani Johnson Show, we talk about what true success looks like. In fact, we give you the opportunity to define success for you. What does it look like for you? Do you want to be the rich, miserable son of a gun on some hill by himself who has to pay people to just be in his life? Because his wife, in fact, the last 4 have left him. Children want nothing to do with him. 2 of them are in rehab. His health is a mess, or her health is a mess. They have no joy. But boy, on the outside, everything looks really, really good. You see, that is our society's form of success. I want you to define it for you. So that's what we're talking about today. My coworker, Mary, found this amazing quote by Mother Teresa, who, by the way, she inspires me tremendously. Loneliness and the feeling of being unwanted is the most terrible poverty. So true, isn't it? And we have 40% of the American population, I can't imagine what it is around the rest of the world, where people are reporting that they're lonely. They feel isolated. And to be honest with you, most people who are lonely, they put themselves in that place. Yes, I just said that. Yes, if you're feeling lonely, there are steps that you took to put you in that place. If you were to backtrack and look, wow, what happened? Did you get hurt? Were you disappointed? Did somebody not come through? Did somebody make a promise that they did not fulfill? Did something not turn out the way that you wanted to? Did things start to get, I don't know, agitated, kind of stressful? What is your knee-jerk reaction in stress? To run and hide or to blow up? What is it? If it's running and hiding, it leads to something that can be very, very dangerous. With the world that is digital today, with our society being a society that it really is all centered around self, it leads to isolation, and isolation leads to darkness, and darkness is where there is a brewing of all addictions. Darkness, that isolation, is a place where you feel unwanted, unloved, you feel like you don't matter, and you bring that attitude to work. Have you ever suffered from something like this? Have you ever felt lonely? Have you ever isolated yourself? I want to know, what was the result of it? Did it lead to a good place? Did it lead to something that was fruitful? Did it lead to something that was beneficial? Did you get promoted in your job by isolating yourself from everybody else that's in the workplace? Did your marriage improve by isolating yourself from your mate? Isolating yourself into your bedroom or into your cave, your man cave or your woman cave, keeping yourself nose in the books, isolating yourself. You see, I have to fight myself against that. My natural personality is, I love being alone with earplugs in, with the best book I think that's ever been written since the beginning of time. That's like my favorite place, and I can be that I don't like to watch movies. I love to be in that place where there's quiet. But when we let that place come as a higher priority over our family, and not being engaged in conversation and not pulling conversation from other people in the family, especially even at work, that we are just kind of keeping to ourselves, doing our own thing, working on our own goals, keeping my nose out of anybody else's life. I'm going to keep out of everything. This also doesn't help you get promoted. So if you want to succeed, I'm so sorry to tell you, you're going to have to come out of a shell. You're going to have to come out of your isolated place and get involved with other people's lives, because this actually is what people want. They want relationship. Our human nature, we want it. Even though we've been hurt by people, even though we have a long track record of people not coming through and people being untrustworthy, there's still a desire in us. Even if it's a little ember, there's still a desire in us to have good, solid, intimate relationships with others. So we're talking about this today. If you've ever felt lonely, unwanted, isolated, what that actually feels like, what it actually led to, so that all of us can learn from it, because there are signs, I promise you, there's signs of us being isolated, and people who are isolated don't even know that they've done it to themselves. They don't even know what the result of it is and how dark it actually can get. So we're going over to the phones. We've got Jenny Smith from Oklahoma on the line. Jenny, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. So tell me, have you ever been isolated? Have you ever felt lonely? What was the result of that?
Thank you, Dani, for having me.
Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The way I've actually always suffered from depression since I was a small child, and it kind of just stemmed into adulthood, and it just overflowed into adulthood. I've always had this dream of being a singer-songwriter, so I started kind of getting into that, and my depression, I kind of put it all into that, and I didn't realize, but there were a lot of dark songs I was writing because I was depressed. And
wow,
as I was chasing this dream of mine, I was getting closer to my dream, and I started getting these nice gigs, and people were recognizing me, and I was getting further from God because I was trying to do it without Him. And my family started falling apart, and I hit rock bottom, and it wasn't until I hit my knees and gave the will over to God that, I surrendered everything to Him. I prayed a prayer. I poured out my heart to Him in this prayer. I begged Him for a burning desire to know Him.
Yes.
And He gave me that. I'm not kidding you.
Yes.
He answered my prayer, and ever since, I've just been hungry. And my husband, he too, our relationship has been fixed.
Wow.
And I wouldn't say it's perfect, but
nobody has. Anytime two humans are together, there is imperfection.
Right. The scriptures have just opened up our hearts and are healing us. And we read them daily now. We got the CDs. We're playing them in our cars. Our children are constantly being exposed to them.
Yes.
The Word has given us hope and a purpose, and actually superseded my dreams even.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Here's what I've learned: when you draw near to God, reading His Word, and you pray, and you have obedience to His commandment, and He draws near to us. You draw near to Him, He draws near to you,
so
and when you get closer to Him, you get His peace, which is, as you know, one of the fruits of the Spirit. And when you have His peace, you can't exactly have depression, because
it's true.
You can't have depression when you have peace. So
That's right.
I think you need to draw close close to the Spirit, and He just draws close to you and heals.
You know what I find so interesting, because I know that there's someone that's listening right now saying, well, I've tried that, and it hasn't worked. And I just, when I read the Bible, I just go to sleep. And, it just seems like some old book that is, totally not relevant today. And I remember feeling that way in my early walk with Him. But there's something that you said that was so powerful that changes it all. And that is, God, give me a heart for you. I pray that same prayer all the time because it's very, very easy for our hearts. The Bible says that the heart is deceptive above all else, that it's evil above all else. And so our own hearts as they are, and our own hearts in their own condition, even though people can say, no, my heart isn't bad. Like, you're deceived, buddy. You're deceived. You think you have a good heart? You are deceived. You are so deceived. Exactly. There's always some kind of muck and nastiness that is inside of us. And it's important for us to confess that stuff. But when you confess that I don't love you enough, I don't care about you enough, I'm not even paying attention to you. So you basically said that the part of that happened for your destruction of losing it all was because you isolated yourself from God.
Right.
And that led to depression. And that depression sabotaged your success. And then when you finally fell to your knees and said, I need to know you. I need you. I want to love you more. I want to know you more. That's when He began to give you new eyes to show you Him. And He showed you Him through His Word. And I'm telling you what, I'm a big believer in reading the Bible cover to cover, Jenny. Cover to cover. Not this nonsense of how, unfortunately, majority of the churches teach us to deal with the Bible, which is, just open it wherever it is you land, start reading. No. Why do people read the Bible like a dictionary? Read it from Genesis all the way to Revelation, and you will learn so much about who your Father is. You learn about people. You learn about business. You learn about health. You learn about parenting. You learn about being married. You learn about love. You learn about sex. You learn about paying off debt. You learn about how to prosper greatly in there. You also learn how to mess your whole stinking life up. You learn a lot about leadership.
Precept, line upon line.
Yes. I mean, you'll learn how to be a bad leader. You can learn how to be a phenomenal leader. It's all inside of this book. And when you prayed that prayer, He opened your eyes and gave you a love for His Word. And His Word does not return void. And it really does transform us and fill us with peace and harmony and love and gentleness and goodness and self-control. Even in the bad, hard times of our life, we can bear the fruit of the Spirit. Jenny, thank you so much for sharing with us your story. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
When we come back, there's a lie going around that keeps people lonely, broke, and empty, and they don't even know why. Do you believe this lie? Find out next on The Dani Johnson Show. Did you know you can take The Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Prior to plugging into First Steps to Success, I was a depressed, hopeless, suicidal drug addict. I had no vision for my life. I absolutely hated people, hated myself. I felt shackled by my debt, and I had toxic relationships. Since plugging in, I've been drug-free for almost 18 months. I paid off nearly $14,000 worth of debt in 14 months. I have completely restored my relationships with my friends and my family. I have a vision for my life now, and I'm actually live and not exist anymore. So I don't know if you have debt or not, or if your life's going perfectly the way you want it to go. But if not, I highly recommend you get registered today for the next First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, we were just lost. We had no hope and light at the end of the tunnel, and we were drowning in debt. After coming to First Steps to Success and plugging into DaniJohnson.com, our income has doubled. We have paid off over $76,000 of debt in just 45 months. My husband and my communication skills have just raised us through the roof, and my husband has cut back his hours, making more income. If you want results like these, you better get to First Steps to Success.
I have been plugging into Dani Johnson for the last 8 years, believe it or not. And people say, why so long? Well, because there's a lot to do in life, and it has changed every area of my life. My business has exploded, my spiritual life has been unmatched, and my relationship with my wife and my family has just been fantastic. We've paid off over $200,000 of debt in just 2 years. We're debt-free, and I just could not be happier. But if you want to change any area of your life, whether it's your business, your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your financial situation, or getting out of debt, or your spiritual life, I would tell you, you cannot afford to miss First Steps to Success. It's just been a blessing to me and my family. So I really invite you to just get online and get your ticket to the next First Steps to Success. Thank you very much.
It's time for a checkup from the neck up. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Dani, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't need people. People just hurt people. So if I have no people, I have no problems. It's really simple. Listen, friend, that is an absolute equation for failure. That is not the equation for success. Your personal truth, yes, has told you, and your history has told you, that people hurt people. Yes, but you've also had people in your life who have blessed you. You see, what you focus on is what you get more of. And if you want to succeed, you have to embrace the fact that people are always going to be in your life. You cannot succeed without them. Listen, money comes from people. Yes, money comes from people. It doesn't grow on trees, and it doesn't grow in banks. It comes from people. And if you feel that people are nothing but tools for hurting you, you will not have good people relationships in the marketplace, and you certainly not have good people relationships at home, which means that you will not succeed and hit your dreams. You cannot become the successful person you desire under this complete, ridiculous idea that you can do it on your own. Not possible. It takes a team to succeed. It takes a team at home. It takes a team at work. It takes a team. You do need people. So the issue is that you have to ask yourself, is what I'm doing with people working, or is it not? Because sometimes we can lack good people skills and lack an understanding of what motivates other people so that we can serve them better. But you might be thinking, why do I want to serve anybody? They all are terrible. They all suck. Okay, listen. First of all, I have to tell you that used to be me. Seriously, friend, that was me. I was that person that hated people. And you know what's so funny? Is that I got backed in to loving people. How? Because I was so greedy. I was told by the very first millionaire I had ever met and the first millionaire I ever had the chance to learn from, where he said from the stage, he was doing a training seminar, and he said that we had to learn to love people in order to succeed. And I just sat there and I went, I'm done. I am totally going to fail. I hate people. I hate them. Why? Come on. I had a terrible past. The man that I thought was my father, that I found out when I was almost 18 that he wasn't, brutally, violently beat the heck out of me, my two sisters, and my mother. Brutally abused us verbally, emotionally, mentally, physically. He was horrible. I trusted no man. I was molested from the time I was 3 till I was 16. My mother did nothing about it. She didn't know what to do about it. So right away, when she did nothing, I made up all these decisions in my head about women and about my mom. And because of the thing with my dad, I made all kinds of decisions about men being all the same, and that I couldn't trust anybody, and that everyone just hurts each other and people are just mean. I had made up all of these decisions at a very young age, and it affected my work life. And so when I was sitting in that seminar and heard that in order to succeed wildly in the marketplace, I had to learn more about people than I do myself, more than I do about my product, more about the company, more about my compensation opportunities. I had to learn more about people than I did the market, and I'd be unusually successful. I'm like, I hate people. Why would anyone want to study that which they hate? And that second statement, that I have to learn to love people. Listen. My hate for people ended me up homeless 25 years ago. Homeless! $2.03 to my name, $35,000 debt, 50 pounds overweight, miserable person who was suicidal, and I just knew the rest of my life would always be like that. But 2 years later, I was a millionaire. Today, multi-millionaire. How? Want to know? I'll give it to you right here. Free book. Go get it. It's a real one. Okay? Almost 300 pages. First Steps to Wealth. Step by step, how I went from homeless to millions to multi-millionaire, who, by the way, uses 100% of the profits from this company straight to the extreme poor, the orphan, the sick, and the widow. I don't even take a salary, even though I should take a salary. I earned the salary by far. First Steps to Wealth. Call the office right now, 866-760-8255. Go to DaniJohnson.com. Request your free copy. You pay the shipping. I'll send you the $15 book. Start learning how you can dig yourself out of that situation. God bless. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
My name's Derek, and this is my wife, Michelle, and we're the Holland Sheds. We live in Covina, California, about 45 minutes from here, and we're extremely honored to be able to share our story. And when we were approached about it, I was kind of thinking, well, where do I start? Where do we start? But I'm going to start a few years back before there was a Michelle and Derek. Actually, I was actually debt-free, and kind of going along pretty good. And then a funny thing happened. I got married, and I married into debt. And okay, we're going to do fine. We'll pay it off, and life will be good. But a funny thing happened was that didn't seem to happen. And as a result, just kind of thinking it's going to happen, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and something always happens, and and the result is that debt doesn't get paid. So it starts becoming like an old friend. And then unfortunately the marriage failed, but I was able to meet Michelle, and we got married, and married into debt again. only now it's a little bit bigger, but at least the house that I had, this was during the housing boom, so use some of the equity in the house to pay that debt off, and okay, we got a clean state. Let's go forward. And but in our early days in our marriage, we had some difficulty as far as being on the same page financially, and Michelle will share a little bit more about that. And I guess it's a good point for me to hand it over to her.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Like Derek said, honestly, you guys, the first 7 years of our marriage, when I came into our marriage, he paid my debt off. And I ran our debt up 3 different times in the first 7 years of our marriage, you guys. I would have never imagined being in that spot. Derek didn't trust me. And it finally got to a place where, my gosh, I can't keep doing this. I was pretty much told to come to this event by a good friend of mine, and it was the best thing she could have said to me, because it's what I needed. I would have not have come had I not have had that charge and challenge that way. The moment I got here, and we saw the war, I saw the war on debt, I said, this is it. This is our ticket. This is what's going to help us go to the next level. This is what's going to help us. You guys, we've since in 33 months, we have paid off over $159,000 worth of debt. We have money in savings. We have $300,000 in assets, income-producing assets. We continue to plug in. I was the first one to come, but immediately afterwards, I told my husband I couldn't wait. I called him. I told him about War on Debt. He immediately said, let's do it. We had some friends that hosted a War on Debt class there right after, and we went to it, and we found $502 worth of excess spending our first month, and we revisited our budget after that, and then we thought we were just broke, living paycheck to paycheck. We were overwhelmed. We felt hopeless. I never would have thought I would lose my husband's trust, and the techniques, the strategies that Dani Johnson teaches you guys helped us save our marriage, our finances, our communication. You guys, we started out with, my favorite product is spiritual equipping, and I know Darren has a favorite product.
We're on debt, and you think?
You guys, we kind of bought things one by one. However, you guys have a great opportunity outside that door, that table out there, where you can buy the whole DJ University curriculum, and you get almost over $1,000 off. So you have either option, but that's a great opportunity for you. Don't let anything stop you guys. There is hope, there is life, and I'm very grateful and honored to be here. So without further delay, you guys, help us welcome back America's favorite millionaire and our mentor and coach, Dani Johnson.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Dani, nobody wants me around anyway. It's better off if I just keep to myself. Friend, that is a dangerous thought process. Where does it lead? We're talking about the powerful spirit of isolation. Yeah, isolation can destroy your life. You were created for relationship. Even if you're that type of person that you love numbers and facts and figures and you love to be organized and IT and all of that kind of stuff, you still were created for relationship. All of us were. And if you are isolating yourself away from people, you're only hurting your life. So Are you currently isolated? What result is it having on your life? Let's look at this because you desire to succeed, which is why you listen to this show. You want to be successful. In order to have success, you got to have people. People help to bring success. So how do you get yourself out of that situation? Joining me right now, Lorene Parash from Pennsylvania. Lorene, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. So you are living in an isolated situation right now, right?
I am, and thank you for having me. Yes, I am.
Yes. So how did you get there?
Well, I came back home about 11 years ago to take care of my parents.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are older, and I've been home for 11 years, and I have my own home-based business now, so I'm home with my business, which can be isolating.
Yes.
And now I take care of my mom. She's 89. My dad passed away.
Wow.
And she doesn't drive, so I drive, and I didn't realize what had happened in these last 11 years.
Yep.
Where I lost sight of me
Yep.
and my dreams
Yep.
and my plans and my life.
Yep.
And I have a lot of guilt for feeling that way because I feel blessed that I can take care of my parents.
Yeah, that's amazing.
A lot of people don't have that privilege. And I'm thankful that I do.
I think that everyone has the privilege. They just choose to neglect their parents.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
I have a girlfriend, like her mom passed away
Gotcha.
years ago, so she never had the opportunity
to take care of her.
For her mom.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so let's talk about this because, isolation can be a habit. And in isolation, we can become really resentful, bitter,
yes,
lonely,
yes,
losing any sight of hope or a dream. And like you said, man, 11 years have just flown by. Now, it's one thing to take care of your parents. However, it's not healthy for you as a person to not have any kind of an outlet that's away from the parents. Whether that is weekly taking a dance class, getting out and doing something in the community, even bringing mom with you to go do something in the community. Because it sounds to me like there's 2 depressed people in a house.
Right.
And that's not healthy for mom, and that's not healthy for you at all. And so, therefore, we now are in separate rooms doing our own thing, and there's no life coming in from anywhere. And so what are you doing to fix this? I mean, the home-based business, I think, is great, but that's a lot of work online, right? Alone in a room with a phone.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are you doing to get yourself out of this situation?
Well, you had mentioned it earlier about addictions and you're being drawn into a corner of an addiction or depression or shopping. And when you said shopping, I'm like, oh my gosh, how is that an addiction?
Oh, yes.
Really, it is. So thanks for pointing that one out. I shop a lot,
which, by the way, is very isolating as well.
It is. But it's fun. I don't know.
No.
I'm going to try to defend it. So.
No, exactly. It's not fun when you've got credit card debt.
Right. Which, thank you for your war on debt program. Amen.
Yep. It's not fun when you are trying to fill a hole. You see, you need people. You need people. And shopping with strangers isn't going to cut it.
Right.
So here's what I want you to look at. There are so many things that are going on in your local community. Now, listen, it is a massive stretch for me to leave my house. It's my house or the office, my house or the office, my house or the office. I am so habitual, and my normal tendency is to be alone. I love it. Even though I have 5 kids and soon to be 8 grandkids, my tendency is to be alone. That seems to be my way. It ain't a good way. It's not healthy. And so are you plugging into a church?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have an amazing church. Absolutely.
Are you the one that comes in right when it starts and leaves the minute it ends?
Maybe. You busted me.
So what's so amazing about your church that you do not show up early to have any relationship and you leave the minute it's over? You mean you like the show they put on for 2 hours every Sunday?
Yes, of course. Mm-hmm. I love to praise and worship, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's safe. It's just you and God.
Right.
Lorene, you're dying inside.
Right.
Lorene, you're giving up your healthy, youthful years. I know you're like, you don't know how old I am. No, yes, I do. Your mom's 89. You are my age or a little older. So here's what I know. You're giving up your youthful years. You're giving up your strong years by being alone. So here's your new instruction. Do you want to break this? God did not put you on earth for you to be alone. At all. So you got to ask yourself this question. Why do I avoid people? Why do I avoid intimacy? And if you are one who loves to worship, then you'll have no problem right as soon as I'm done with you on this phone call asking God, God, show me, why am I afraid of intimate relationships? Why am I afraid to be vulnerable in front of other people? Why am I afraid to be involved in other people's lives? What am I hiding from? That's the question I want you to ask him. I want you to know on that. And then ask him, what shall I do? Daily, you got to get out of that house. Daily. So I'm sure that if you have a great church, at least they put on a good show because you don't really know the people. You have no relationship with them, so you really don't know if it's a really good church. There's probably all kinds of programs that are socially involving in that place that could use a good person like you, a good woman like you to help. Whether it's the coffee shop that they might have, or it might be meals being taken to other places. It could be some youth thing that's going on. Just get involved. There's things inside your community. There's art galleries. There's all kinds of shows. I'm not talking about go to the show by yourself. But you have a couple of people that you know and just say, I've got a homework assignment. I got to get out of my little comfort zone of being by myself. Let's go for a walk. And start talking to other people and letting them talk to you. Because isolation is going to kill you, and it cannot have your life, Lorene. It cannot have your life. There's a whole new life waiting for you on the other side of you asking God, why am I afraid of people? Why am I afraid of intimacy? You see, if you can't have intimacy with people, there's a good chance you don't have intimacy with Him either. Because it's out of the overflow of your intimacy with Him that causes you to love people, causes you to reach out to people, causes you to want to tell people about Him, that causes you to share the goodness of who He is, that causes you to want to help see the captives set free. You see, out of that intimacy with Him, He gives you His heart. And His heart is very intimately in love with those humans you are avoiding. So I want you to ask that question. By the way, do you know how I know that question? Because I had to ask the question myself. The only reason why you feel really naked right now is because I lived your life. And I have to put things in place to make sure I don't go back to living that life, because that is my natural personality, to be isolated and alone. Lorene, I'm really, really proud of you, and I want an update on Facebook 1 week from today, please. This is Dani Johnson. We're talking about breaking free from that isolation. It's a habit. It's not a good one. It keeps us from success. It keeps us all from our wildest dreams coming true. It keeps us from passionate, loving, harmonious relationships. It keeps us stuck. It puts us in debt, destroys our earning potential. You don't want it. It's a disease. You want what's on the other side of it. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Coming up next, are you looking for love in all the wrong places? Dani's going to show you how you might be fooling yourself on The Dani Johnson Show.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
Prior to Dani Johnson, I was struggling in my business. I was drowning in debt. Me and Crystal weren't doing so well either. In the last 21 months since our first event, I paid off $36,000. We actually got engaged, which was the best part, and my business made $90,000 last year, and I've given over $5,000 to orphans this year as well. So I can tell you that this has changed my life, but I want to recommend that you come to this event and learn as much as you can from Dani Johnson.
I attended a First Steps to Success event, and after the skills I learned there, I started a home business. I've made over 5 figures in 1 month. Actually, I've generated over $90,000, which is way more than I ever did working full-time at my other job. So we have increased our income, paid off debt. You know, more than that, though, we no longer have that pressure. It's just been such a blessing to my family. So, you know, everything might be awesome in your life, but if you want to increase your income, pay off debt, improve relationships, live the life you've always wanted to live, I suggest you get to DaniJohnson.com and register for the next event.
After plugging into Dani Johnson, we made a covenant that we would either move forward together or we would go our separate ways. And in a matter of days, we sold his car, we bought our engagement ring. 5 months later, we were married. We paid for our wedding in cash because of the business skills that we had also learned from Dani. And we've since then more than quadrupled our income. And we've been together now, married for over a year.
And after plugging into Dani Johnson, we have paid off $196,000 in 13 months. My company has grown 90%, and I have relationships that I could never have even imagined with the ones I care most about around me.
Prior to attending my First Steps to Success, we were drowning in debt. We had lost a business. My second marriage was going down the toilets. I had no time and relationship with my son, and I was just a mess, and I was burning out fast. After attending First Steps and been to a few events, we have a thriving business that's gone international. We have paid off 65% of our debt. We are not just making money, but we're saving money and we're learning how to grow money. I have got a marriage that's gone from barely surviving to thriving, and I now have 2 children with whom I have so much time. I am not burnt out, stressed out, and all I can say is you've just got to get here.
If you've ever wanted to make millions, change the world, be the voice for the voiceless, and have a blast doing it, then you need to spend some time with this lady right here. She's been doing it for years, and she'll show you how. This is The Dani Johnson Show.
Iron sharpens iron. One person is iron to another, and one person can sharpen another. But if you're living an isolated life, the best of you has not even come out yet. The best of you, the best of your character, the person that you have the ability to become hasn't even come out if you're isolated. Isolation seems to be an epidemic in our country today. And I know you desire to succeed. You've maybe stumbled upon this show via radio on the Truth Network or on television with the UA Network, or maybe you stumbled on it through YouTube or on our website, DaniJohnson.com. Today's message is so important for you. I once lived a very isolated life, largely because of the decisions I made as a young person with all the abuse that was in the household I was raised in. All of the turmoil, the torment. It was a crazy way to grow up. And all of us have a childhood, but we don't have to stay there. Mine produced decisions that I made that people can't be trusted, and I'm going to do it by myself, and I don't need anybody, and I can't trust anybody, and you know, my life always is going to suck if people are in it, so I'm going to figure out how to succeed without any people. Came quickly to the revelation that it is totally impossible to succeed without people. It requires relationships. So we're going to the phones. We got Stacy Luck from Vancouver, Washington. Stacy, what has been your experience with isolation? Hello, Stacy, are you there? Did you mute yourself? Your line is open. Hello, Stacy. Are you getting cold feet? Okay, we're moving on over to Lauren Willett from Pennsylvania. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi. So what part has isolation played in your life?
Isolation, it's like, I don't even know where to start. When I think isolation, I think of misery loves company. When I went through times in my life of isolation, I felt like I didn't know who I was.
Yep.
So I hid from the world.
Yep.
So I tried to find people to make me feel happy. But when you don't know yourself, you're only going to find like-minded people.
That don't know themselves and don't know you.
Exactly. So I wound up in the whole party situation of just constantly being drunk or high or something, and being in a room full of people and still feeling like the loneliest person in the world.
And you were in a room full of people who were drunk and high, too.
Yeah.
Everyone's
like,
drunk and high.
Whatever.
Yeah, everyone's drunk and high, and everyone feels alone. Wow, that sounds awesome. But you know what,
Exactly.
Lauren? I have never heard anyone quite put it like that. But that is really true. No, it's totally true. When I was doing the same thing, right, when I was homeless, I was trying to drown myself. I was in so much self-destruction. I'm drinking like crazy. I'm doing drugs, and I'm totally lonely.
Yep.
And it wasn't working. Yes.
No, none of it was working, just depressing yourself more, putting these depressants in you. How are you supposed to find yourself when you're just, like, out of your mind? And
well, you find yourself in bed with someone you don't know is what you do.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And then you're like, oh, this person wants my attention, this person wants my attention. You think, like, it's going to fill some void and you're not going to be lonely. But actually you end up full of regrets and being even lonelier than ever.
So even having sex with other people, right, who on the surface seem like they want you, right?
Yeah.
And even then, even sex with that empty person and you're empty, you still walk away from what is supposed to be an intimate, I'm trying to keep it clean, what's supposed to be an intimate, clean's not coming to me. Anyway, an intimate episode is totally not intimate at all.
No, it's really not. It's not what it's supposed to be about. But when you're young, and you don't know better, you know, you just keep
doing it.
Going into bed, another bed to another bed, you know, and it's a never-ending cycle. And I found that I just one day woke up and said, you know, these people aren't really my friends, and they don't have my back. I was in situations where I was like, hey, can you help me out of this? And they weren't there. So I was like, you know what? I isolated myself from people. That, you know, I do not like people at all. People are just ridiculous. I don't need anybody. I think I started coming back to, I guess, socialization through animals. I started horseback riding, finding myself again, talking to them even though they're not really talking to you. You know, you feel like they're talking to your spirit in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know, I could get totally lost in this, but I feel like basically if you know yourself more and you expand yourself, you build on your relationship with yourself, you become less lonely.
Yes.
You find your passions, you find what drives you, and good things will come to you. Now, one of my biggest passions is going to the gym. There is nothing more rewarding than just you against you, you challenging your mind. Because your mind's going to give up before your body, and just seeing where that'll take you.
So true.
And just, it's like you're not lonely when you're just focusing on yourself. It's like you're taking yourself out on a date, and you're like, hey, we're going to do this today, and we're going to conquer this, and it's so rewarding. And then you get rewarded with endorphins, which is the most overlooked antidepressant there is
big
out
time.
there.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so Lauren, I have a question for you. So what are your relationships like now with other humans?
They're so much better because I'm bringing in like-minded people again. But this time, they're more elevated because I elevated myself. There are people that want to succeed and see others succeed. There are people that want to continue learning just like I do. I don't want to ever stop learning.
Yep. And that does make a difference. This is like such an incredible conversation because, yes, you can be totally overly social and still be lonely, still be isolated. And so where you have found greater peace is in, like getting right with you.
Getting right with myself.
And it was actually being outside, having time by yourself on purpose, learning to think some different thoughts and learning how to direct your thoughts and connecting with something that was bigger than you versus just putting yourself, trying to solve the isolation with putting yourself in lots of social situations. It's absolutely true. No question. Lauren, thanks so much for your comments and congratulations, by the way, that you broke that cycle and that you found something of great purpose and that you got to know yourself and you got to find what you were made for and begin to chart out a destiny that was bigger than the party scene and sleeping around and all of that kind of stuff. I'm really, really proud of you. And by the way, it has nothing to do with being young. It has everything to do with being lost. And you were lost. And that's what led you in there. Because there's people, trust me, I have some family members that are still partying like they're 16 and they're not. And their bodies are proving to them that they're not. And so I'm really proud of you. Congratulations on that huge breakthrough that you had. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show. More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Put the Dani Johnson Show to work for you by advertising your product or service. The Dani Johnson Show has tens of thousands of listeners who are just like you. People who need what you're offering but just don't know it yet. Savvy business owners and marketing directors advertise on The Dani Johnson Show. To promote your products and services on The Dani Johnson Show, email john@danijohnson.com or call 866-760-8255.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Your life can be so much bigger, better, more useful if you choose to see yourself that way. You see, out of the heart, the mouth speaks. And as you see yourself, how you see you determines who you will choose to surround your life with. It chooses how you see you determines who your friends are. How you see you determines what kind of a career you go after. How you see you determines how you treat your body. How you see you determines who you will choose to be married to. How you see you determines how you act as a parent. How you see you determines every decision in your life. More importantly, how you see God, how you see the Creator, now even changes how you see you. If you saw you the way He sees you, you would be unstoppable. You'd be completely unstoppable. I got a revelation 25 years ago, and I heard His voice when I was a homeless woman looking for another line of cocaine. And where He showed me clearly, pick up your mat and walk. Walk away from these people you have surrounded yourself with. You know that these are not the people you should be with. Step up, rise up, and do something with your life. I am so glad that I began on a journey of seeing myself different than those who told me who I was. My stepfather, who told me I was worthless, fat, ugly, stupid, and could never do anything right. The family that I felt neglected in. The family of abuse. I let it define me. I am so very blessed that more than 2 decades ago, I stopped allowing my past define my future. You can start today. You can start right now. No longer allowing your past to define your future, no longer allowing those in your past who have hurt you or you who you've hurt yourself to define your future. Choose today to see yourself different, to see yourself better, to see yourself in the future of where you want to be and where you want to go, and look at yourself from that place, and then get on with it. I'd love to help you have the success that you desire to have, as we have helped millions of people all over the world, and you're next. Get a hold of the free book, First Steps to Wealth, right now. 866-760-8255. If this is your first time watching the show, we'd love to give it to you. It's our gift to you. You pay the shipping and handling to get it to your house, and we will pay for the $15 book. Start with page 1. And I promise you, you're not going to be able to put it down. And you're going to see a whole new life ahead of you when you follow simple strategies that I followed to go from homeless to millions. Free book. Get it now. DaniJohnson.com. Hope you enjoyed today's program. We will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Did you hear that last segment? Do you know someone else who needs to hear it? Go to DaniJohnson.com, find today's show, and share it online. This is the Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.